Good morning. A lot of folks on various forums are always looking for deals on used photography equipment. And I'm one of those folks. Every morning when I get up, first thing I do is go to eBay and Facebook Marketplace and even Craigslist and search around for things that I'm looking for. So recently, I scored 3 lenses and a body. And I just want to spend a few minutes showing you what you can get from eBay and Facebook Marketplace if you're willing to spend some time. So this first purchase that I'm going to show you is a Minolta 100 to 200 millimeter f4.5 lens. Now this is a bit of a vintage lens. It's an A mount Sony lens. For a couple of years now, I've been collecting Minolta glass, mostly MD and MC glass, which requires a dumb adapter, and you have to set focus and f-stops manually. I've been using them on Micro Four Thirds, and I've been using them on Sony A6000 and a 6500 camera, and they've just been great. There's a certain look to these old film lenses that you just don't get with modern digital lenses. But manual focus, manual aperture can get old after a while. And I moved into Sony A mount, actually Sony / Minolta A mount. And with a particular adapter available from Sony, and the one I'm using is the LA-EA4 adapter, which is really quite an amazing piece of equipment. It has its own motor inside to run the screw mount focus on these A-mount lenses, and it does a great job. A lot of people complain that it's slow focus or not good focus. I haven't experienced that. So far it's been very, very good. And here's an example, by the way, of a good buy, although I bought it a few weeks ago. I've been looking for one of these things for 6-8 months, and usually they're around $300. I think they're maybe close to $400 new. And I found this one up in Vermont for 150 bucks. I'm a bit of a stickler when I'm buying this stuff. It has to be like perfect. This guy said it's perfect. And of course, the bottom is where you can really tell use. If this thing was mounted on a tripod a lot, that would be all scratched up, and it's not. It was $150. What a buy. So once I have that, now I can start adding to the collection of Sony A-mount lenses. I've already opened this box, so it's not quite a box opening. But again, this is the 100 to 200 f4.5. You're going to have a hard time believing this. I paid $17.17 for this lens. It was $15 shipping, which brought the total cost to $32. Well, first of all, I wasn't expecting to get this cool little Minolta pouch. And in the pouch is a UV filter, a set of body clamps, body caps, and lens caps, Minolta, which are really kind of cool, a couple of adapter rings, and a little pouch. The shade, pretty good shape, couple little marks here and there, but not bad. Dusty, so obviously this thing's been sitting in somebody's drawer somewhere for a while. The lens itself, let's check it out. It was well packaged, came with the owner's manual, which is kind of neat. I've never actually seen one of these vintage owner's manuals, so that's going to be fun to kind of look through. And the lens itself is right here. Wow. It actually looks very, very good. Okay, it lost its inspection sticker. That's no big deal. This has not whited out. Usually this rubber on this vintage series of lenses whites out. There's another place you can tell how much use it's gotten. This little clear screen for your depth indicator is perfect. No scratches whatsoever. And the glass, let's check that out. Well, from the outside it looks excellent. I don't see any fungus or balsam separation or anything like that. That looks all really, really good. To open the aperture so that we can see what's going on inside, I use one of these dumb adapters. This one is a Photosci, and how this works, it just pops onto the lens and it locks, and then you literally turn this whole, they call it lock and open. So when it's in lock, it's closed, the aperture. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if we can get this in focus. And then when you open it, it opens. And that's how you adjust the aperture if you're using it without the adapter, without the Sony A6400 adapter. You would do it this way. But anyways, let's check this out. Wow, I'm not seeing any dust whatsoever, not a mark. That's pretty amazing. This thing is in great shape for $17. So anyways, that's one of the lenses that I picked up very recently. Came in today, just a couple hours ago actually. And it's a 100 to 200 telephoto. That'll be fun to play with. The next lens that came along in the search was a Minolta 28mm f2.8. Now, as you can see, this rubber band whited out. They do that. I'm not sure if it's the sun or ozones or what. I'm going to see if I can bring that back to black somehow with, I don't know what, maybe some oil or something. We'll see. But I've always wanted a 28mm autofocus, and this was one way to get it. This lens was $50 shipped. So it came shipped for 50 bucks. And again, we'll take our adapter and we'll pop it on, and we're going to check the glass. And as you can see, this opens and closes the aperture. Now let's just see what this looks like against a white background. Oh boy, this thing's like brand new. This thing doesn't have a mark on it. I mean, even the rim is perfect. It came with a lens hood, which is right here, which is in great shape. Yeah, this is a nice lens. No, I take it back. That wasn't the right lens hood. This is the right lens hood. And I really like these lens hoods because they have the little push buttons on the sides rather than having to put them on the normal way. You just push the buttons and it pops it right on. Nope, I'm totally confused. This is the lens hood from the 100-200. I don't know what I did with the lens hood for this one, but it came with a lens hood. So anyways, that's the second lens that I got off of eBay. And the big kahuna is this lens. I've always wanted one of these 80 to 200 Minolta autofocus APO high-speed zoom lenses. The problem is they're usually beat to heck because they're white and it's paint and it rubs off and it gets scratched and whatnot, or they're a ton of money. Well, I saw this one on eBay for around $300 shipped from Japan. And the seller said it was like new, excellent, with 5 stars or 5 pluses. I contacted him. I said, look, if it's not perfect, I'm sending it back. I'm a little crazy about the condition of my stuff, especially something like this. Well, check this thing out. The shoe doesn't have a mark on it. I'm not sure this thing's ever been mounted. I've spent minutes trying to find a scratch or a mark. Little teeny thing right there about the size of an ant's head. This thing is beautiful. Look at that glass. And if you like glass, that's great glass. And again, we can throw the adapter on it. I'll have to take it off this other lens. And we can check out the glass. All right, there we go. And again, turning this really opens it up. It's a constant f2.8, no matter where you zoom, which is something I really wanted. I don't have to adjust aperture as I'm zooming. And this glass is perfect. Not a mark, not a speck of dust, nothing. Absolutely perfect. I'm suggesting this was never used. I'm surprised it didn't come with the box. But it's a beautiful lens. I've actually used it because it came in a couple days ago, and it's fantastic. I'm using it with yet another pretty good deal I got. I've gone from Micro Four Thirds, which I've got a bunch of cameras, and I'm embarrassed to tell you how many lenses I have, both with adapters using the MCMD lenses, using these Sony A mount lenses, and native lenses. I love Micro Four Thirds. It's great stuff. But recently, I moved into some Sony equipment that I found great deals on. I ended up picking up an A65 and an A6000. And there are advantages to APS-C over Micro Four Thirds. And maybe I'll do a video on that at some point. But then I said, you know, what's full frame look like? How much of a difference is there in full frame? So I started looking around, and I figured I don't do video. So the A7 Mark II would be perfect for what I'm looking for. Usually they're pretty good price, $500, $600. Again, I want it to be perfect. It can't have any marks, any scratches. The bottom has to look perfect. Well, this guy in the next town over on Facebook Marketplace, he had this camera posted for $650 for quite a while, a few weeks. Then he dropped the price down to $500. And I said, look, I'll give you $400 right now. Just meet me somewhere. So we met in the Best Buy parking lot in town here, and $400 later, I've got myself an A7 Mark II with 3,000 shutter activations. I love it. I haven't used it enough to really dive into the difference between full frame and APS-C, but so far I'm pretty impressed with what this camera can do. But you look at this equipment that I've got here, and I've got less than, what, $800. And I've got a 28 millimeter, a 100 to 200, an 80 to 200, and a full frame camera, and a Sony LAEA that I bought for $150. So yeah, we're a little over $800. That's quite a bit of kit for that kind of money, but it can be done. It absolutely can be done. But you got to be ready. You got to jump on these deals. You got to get up early because somebody else will get them. In fact, this 80 to 200 was in like 6 or 7 people's cart when I grabbed it. I just couldn't wait because I knew somebody else would grab it. Are you kidding? $300 shipped from Japan. Took 5 days, by the way. It took longer to ship this lens from California than it did to ship this lens from Japan. Figure that one out. But anyways, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this little video that I shot on buying used quality equipment. The hunt is half the fun of the hobby, I find. But anyways, thank you. Have a great day.